Hi guys, today I want to talk to you a little bit about a misconception that there is in leadership and business growth and personal development over time. And that has to do with the role that people think the owner or the CEO or the founder has of the organization. We have this misconception that early on that you get to do whatever you want. Like, I want to be the boss so that eventually I can get to the place where I just be able to call all the shots and do whatever I want each day. I can go play golf for like 7 hours, come to work 1 hour a week or 1 hour a day. And, when I'm there, I just give everybody instructions and they just do everything I say. Or some version of that. I've heard of 10,000 versions of that. And when I've talked to business leaders, that misconception is very harmful for their organization. And what is the better way to look at or think about being a leader, or being the owner, or being the founder is this. A better narrative in your mind is, I will do what is required. And I think that more sums up the outcomes that you need to create. Because there are times in your leadership career where you're going to have to tell people, you're going to have a lot of hard conversations that you do not want to have. And sometimes you kind of feel like they're a little beneath you. They're not. That's your job as the owner. That is what is required of you, to have challenging conversations with people. Sometimes you're going to have to make content that you don't know how to make, and your team's like, okay, we really need this from you. And you got to do it. And you got to do it well, to a standard that attracts clients and creates rapport and lifts morale. Sometimes you have to believe in an objective, in a strategy before anyone else. You have to believe that because it is required of you to make your organization successful and to flourish. And those things are not easy. And that's not what everybody dreams about at the beginning when they want to become an owner, a boss, a CEO, so they can do whatever the world they want. That's not the part that they dream of. But that is what is required. And I don't send this message out to kind of like deter anyone from trying to become a boss, an owner, leader, or CEO, someone with the executive officer title. But I want to kind of help maybe somebody out there who is struggling with, I don't really want to do those things. I don't want to have to do what is required at any given time for my organization to prosper. And that's okay. That's completely okay. That simply means you're not cut out to be an owner or a founder. Because if you take on that role and you're not willing to do what is required, you will suffer and everyone underneath you will suffer. And that's not an existence that anyone looks forward to. Nobody looks forward to coming to that place of work, place of business, and nobody looks forward to working for that boss. And so true leadership, true humble leadership is, I will do what is required. Whether that's clarifying, reinforcing the clarity of our organization again and again and again, telling somebody about the vision for your 10,000th time, you're getting sick and tired of it yourself, hearing it yourself, but you know that team member needs it, and that new group of team members coming on to your team this year, they need it. And you're there communicating that again. You're there explaining your core values again and again and again. You're talking about your core values in an employee, maybe a work deficit that they're having, their problem they're having performing. You're talking about the core values and like, look, this is how we act here, including me. I'm not immune from this. So, what are you ready to align yourself with this, or are you choosing to leave because you don't want to align with our core values? Like those kind of things. And this is not fun. And this is not what every leader set out to do when they're like, oh man, I want to be my own boss, to where I can make the rules. I can go to vacation in Europe 3 times a year. And whenever I show up, there's a certain reverence to my position. And while there is that reverence and there is the paycheck and there are many great benefits to being the owner, and I would encourage anybody who has that desire to go for it, but not go for it blindly, because ultimately people need great leaders, and great leaders do what is required.